Hey folks, Doug Blake with Body Design University. Welcome to another weekly study. Today, if you would pull out your textbooks, go to chapter 6. We're going to talk about fluid replacement or hydration strategies. In the Facebook group, I believe it was Natalie was asking, can you help me with hydration strategies and the calculations that go along with it? So for the most part, this is really more of a math type of scenario, but it can get a little confusing. Let me tell you why this gets confusing. It's because for the most part, and I know I've always had a challenge growing up trying to move to the metric system. Now, again, the challenging part of this is not so much the math as it is the fact that we're dealing with kilograms, we're dealing with ounces, liters, right? If you look on the table on page 199, table 6.4, fluid replacement, anytime we get into milliliters and conversions into ounces, things like that, it's not that it's difficult. It's not, and you'd probably agree with me. It's just, what's the word? It's annoying, right? So that's why what we normally see is milliliters, and then you'll also see ounces, and that's what we have here. But let me go ahead, and again, that's what we're going to talk about today is hydration strategies. It's more of a math issue than anything else, okay? For the most part, what we're dealing with is taking some information, and I'll show you the question that Natalie had put up. It's more a question of looking at the question and what data do you have and what are they asking on a test. I will say this, that for the most part, you will see some questions on hydration. Absolutely. I'm not sure I've ever seen any ACE exam where they didn't have at least one or more questions related to it. Some students, of course, have told us that they're seeing the calculations. They're not difficult, again, if you kind of understand what the question's asking. Generally, you're given all the information you need, and you just need to go into the little side calculator and do a couple of quick things, but you need to know what that is. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to pull this up for you and talk about understanding hydration strategies. So here, of course, was the actual test question that Natalie brought up, hydration strategy. So let me just go over this with you real quick. And I've got my calculator here that I'll show you and I'll use as we go through this. So again, as with any, by the way, this is just helpful from a testing perspective. I'm getting the information from page 199, it's chapter 6, and basically there's a table 6.4, and with some explanation. Please understand something. From a testing perspective, it's very simple, very straightforward numbers that you need to know and use. For the most part, it's going to be very straightforward. Here we have a client who weighs 130 pounds. Okay, it's pounds, not kilograms. Now, look, they could give you the number in kilograms. The conversion factor, if you don't know it already, is 2.2. So you always think of the number 2.2, and whatever the pounds are, you would divide it by 2.2. So if that was the case, this is a 130-pound individual. And there's your first piece of data. Okay, and I'm just writing on this so you get the idea of what you could be doing if you were doing this during a practice test or whatever. 130 pounds, and the individual loses 1.5 pounds. Now, again, they could give this to you in kilograms, but they give it to you in pounds. Not a big deal, because remember, they're giving you the data that you need, right? They're giving you the before, during, and after. And then I believe they've given you this data. So the data is 5 milliliters per kilogram. We don't need that because it just told you, that gave you the conversion factor. It's 0.08 ounces per pound. So the question is what is your recommendation? That's the part you're filling in. It's a pretty straightforward calculation. It's ounces per pound, okay? 0.08 ounces for every pound. So you would do 130 pounds times 0.08 is equal to 10.4 ounces, right? So 10.4 ounces would provide the 0.08 ounces per pound. So that's your answer right there, would be 10.4. Then you have Durian exercise. This one's a little bit more confusing to deal with, only because they don't give you, ACE doesn't really give you any clear-cut definitive way to determine this. However, put your calculator down for a second, and if you go to page 199, here's how you're going to do this. They tell you hydration during exercise. The goal is whatever, aim for a 1-to-1 fluid replacement. Now, you already see that right here, 1-to-1 fluid replacement to fluid loss. Now, this is probably the most confusing, because how much fluid is she losing? She's losing 1.5 pounds. Well, now, wait a minute. Don't you have to, now you got to convert. See, this is it. You got to convert pounds to what? Pounds to ounces, right? Pounds to ounces, because they want to know ounces of water. How many pounds, right? How many ounces are in a pound, right? It's 16. I mean, we know this. I would hope you know this. If you don't, that's your number. 16 ounces in a pound. And that's my dog, by the way, right there, who's trying to get out. 16 ounces for every pound. There's your conversion. Once you know that, she's losing 1.5 pounds. So it's 16 plus the 0.5 is 8. So you're at 24 ounces. Hope that makes sense. 1.5 pounds is equal to 24 ounces. That's kind of the understanding here. That's your conversion. That is one way to do it, is now you would have 24 ounces during exercise. However, what I want you to do is look down at page 199 where I was reading. That's your 1-to-1 fluid replacement to fluid loss ratio. Now, there is no one size fits all recommendation. Duh, we know this. However, if you are unable to determine the individual needs, in other words, if you don't know their body weight, if you don't know the before and after, and you can't gauge it for like the next workout, they have a standard 0.4 to 0.8 liters per hour, which is 8 to 16 ounces per hour. So 8 ounces per hour would be a standard replenishment during exercises. In other words, an 8-ounce glass of water throughout the entire workout. If you did not have her body weight, if you didn't have that data, you would have to assume a relatively light individual, average individual, 8 ounces. That would be your default. But in this case, we already know the individual is losing 1.5 pounds, 130 pounds. It's going to be 24 ounces of water. So that's where you would put probably 24 in there. Again, I don't remember this actual question on their quizzes, but that would be the obvious way to do this. So again, remember 1-to-1 fluid replacement to fluid loss. It's just a matter of converting 1 pounds. The assumption is that 1.5 pounds of body weight loss is in the form of sweat fluid, 1.5 pounds, 24 ounces of fluid. That's your answer. 24 ounces is a 1-to-1 replacement. Now the after exercise calculation is going to be, again, they gave you the calculation. They gave you the equation to use 1.5. Okay, we're not using liters per kilogram. We're using the 23 ounces per pound of body weight loss. I got some space over here. 23 ounces times what? Body weight lost in pounds, 1.5. So now I'm just going to do 23 times 1.5 is equal to 34.5 ounces. So that would be the after exercise right here, 34.5. So again, it looks like the answers, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just going through this straightforward from the calculation. 0.08 ounces for every pound gives you 10.4 ounces before exercise. Then you're looking at 24 ounces Durian Exercise, if you go by the 1-to-1 fluid replacement to fluid loss ratio, and then the 23 ounces per pound of weight lost, 23 ounces times 1.5 gives you 34.5. I hope that makes sense. If somewhere along the line my arithmetic was incorrect, please don't hesitate to let me know. Look, when it comes to some of these questions, it's really straightforward from a math perspective. You just got to know, write your conversions. And so I hope that was helpful. If you need any more information on this, please reach out. Let us know. If you like the content that we have here on our YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe. You can get the notifications as well. We are here to help you to pass the ACE exam. If not on the first attempt, if you've done it before, then for sure on the next attempt. Body Design University is here to help you out, again, as best we can. Leave your comments below. Again, if you can see any errors, I used a calculator, please let me know, and have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. Thanks.